Now I want to talk to you very briefly about fire resistance and safes. Now for a lot of people it's very important that their safe has a certified fire resistance. They may be a doctor, it may be GDPR related documents they're keeping in a home office, things like that. Now for the average person, fire resistance, a certified level of fire resistance may not be that important because things like cash are very resilient to fire if they're kept in a sealed safe, because it's essentially a big steel box and it doesn't let a lot of air in. But if you want to have a certified resistance to fire, that is a completely different matter. Now there's a myth that has been circulating in the safe industry, and more worryingly in the insurance industry, that there's a connection between the grade of a safe and that safe's resistance to fire. Now that is a complete myth. I don't know where it came from, but I do know I heard it repeated at a seminar for insurers that I attended last year in the UK, and I was quite shocked to hear this. So to make it perfectly clear, there is no connection between the burglary resistance grade of a safe and its resistance to fire. Now I'm going to show you an example of this with this particular safe. This is a Vertime grade 2 safe that's certified for 60 minutes fire protection for paper documents. Now if we look at the certification plates here, we have a plate here from VDS, a German certification body, and that's certifying this safe to the standard EN 1143-1. Now that's a burglary resistance standard. It has nothing to do with fire at all. They're certifying that this stood up to a grade 2 burglary resistance test. And beneath that, we have another plate that's from ECBS certifying the same thing. Okay? But below that, we have a different plate. And this plate says LFS 60P. Now, LFS is the light fire standard. And 60P means 60 minutes for paper. So this safe will protect paper documents for 60 minutes in an intense house or business fire. So this safe has been tested in a furnace with the media in question to establish that fact. The fire test that happened to this safe was in a completely different lab to our burglary resistance test. There's no connection between those two labs. There's no connection between those two tests. And this standard is EN 15659. That's a light fire standard, and this is EN 1143-1, the burglary resistance standard. Okay? So there's no connection between those two standards. So if you see a brochure for a safe or a cabinet and it says recommended 30 minutes, recommended 60 minutes, closely examine who it is that's certifying that. Because if it's not a European standard, it has no proof of standard in Europe for litigation purposes. And that could be very important if you're holding documents related to business, if you're holding digital data, maybe you're a doctor or something like that. So if you need proper fire certification, make sure it's an accredited European certification and it's shown on the safe separately to the grade of the safe.